The Roth IRA is an individual retirement account where you can invest after-tax money today, so you don't have to pay taxes on it later when you retire. So today I'll show you why it's so powerful, who it's for, and how to open one up inside of Fidelity, both on desktop, and then we'll briefly cover a mobile app. So let's get started. So first, let's cover why a Roth IRA exists. Retirement accounts like your 401k, a traditional IRA, or SEP IRA are all built around tax deferral, where you save on taxes now when you know them and you pay them later when you retire. Now, a Roth IRA flips that idea completely. With this account, you take what's left over from your paycheck after taxes are taken out, invest in your Roth IRA, and everything grows tax-free from there. So here are a few reasons why most people should have a Roth IRA. Number one, tax-free growth. Once your money is inside the Roth IRA, it compounds tax-free. That means if your investments grow from say $10,000 to $300,000, you keep all of it. Number two, tax-free withdrawals in retirement. When you retire over the age of 59 and a half, your money comes out completely tax-free. This gives you more control over your income and taxes later in life when you are enjoying retirement. Number three, no required minimum distributions or RMDs. Unlike your traditional IRAs, Roth IRAs do not force withdrawals later in life, meaning that your money can stay invested as long as you want it there. Number four, flexibility. Contrary to what most people think, you can withdraw your original contributions without penalties. You just can't touch the earnings without penalties. If you do, you'll have to pay your federal and state taxes plus a 10% penalty. So it's a pretty steep cost. Now, there are certain qualified expenses where you can withdraw funds out of the Roth IRA. These include your first-time home purchase, qualified education expenses, qualified expenses related to the birth or adoption of a child, and certain emergency expenses. So just consult your financial advisor, financial planner, and they'll be able to guide you. Number five, incredible for long-term investors. If you're early in your career and expect your income to grow or believe tax rates may be higher in the future, Roth IRAs are especially powerful. There are income limits to be able to invest inside of this account, and they change every single year. So just make sure you check your modified adjusted gross income with your CPA every year to make sure that you qualify to invest the funds. Now, if you do make too much, there is a workaround that we'll just cover later in the video. And number six, custodial Roth IRAs. A custodial Roth IRA is a tax-advantaged retirement account opened for a child who has earned income. The account is managed by an adult, the custodian, and then transferred to the child at a certain age, usually between 18 and 25 years old. Okay, so let's cover how to open a Roth IRA inside of Fidelity. Okay, so we're going to go to fidelity.com and we're going to click open an account. Now you have a ton of different options here. You have retirement and IRAs. You can do planning advice. You can open a brokerage account like we did in another video. You could check that out. Still a really good option to have when working in your retirement plan. Just cover that in a different video if that's something you also want to cover. If you're looking into HSAs, Fidelity has them. A cash management account that's very similar to a bank account. You can get a credit card, debit card to it. That totally available through Fidelity. And then they also do crypto and some 529 plans if you want to invest in those accounts for your children's college funds. So first, we're going to click open an account under retirement and IRAs, and we are going to do Roth IRA. Okay, so for most of you, I assume that you are not a Fidelity customer. Now, I am, so we are going to set this one up for my wife. So we're going to click no, we are not a Fidelity customer as of this time. Okay, so this is a screen where you're going to put in a ton of your personal info. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll see you at the next screen. Okay, now that we put in all of our personal information, we come to this page where it's how do you make a living? This is where you're going to put your employment status as employed, self-employed, or if you're retired, or if you're employed by Fidelity. So as of this one, we're going to put self-employed. Okay, so now that we put in all of our information, we're just going to verify everything and then click open an account at the bottom. Then after you click open an account, you come to hopefully this page where it says, congratulations, your account is open. It gives you your account number, and then we just continue on to set up username and password. So we'll do that next. Okay, after you fill out all your paperwork, it's going to bring you to this screen where you're going to set up your username and password for your account. So let's go ahead and do that and hit next. It's that easy. Once it's open, you can fund it immediately or set up recurring contributions, so it's completely automated. Now, let's cover how to open a Roth IRA inside of the Fidelity mobile app. Okay, so the mobile app is very similar. We're going to hit open an account. We're going to choose retirement, hit next. So you have the options of rollover IRA, traditional IRA, or Roth IRA. Obviously, we want the Roth. Okay, so we get the pop-up, are you already a customer? For this example, we're going to click no. So it's going to bring you to this screen. It's going to go through the same questions as the desktop. Your first name, last name, address, social security number. Investment companies like Fidelity, Schwab, or Vanguard really prioritize your security because this is your income. I mean, this is your retirement accounts that are held within the brokerage. So it's very important to both them and us. So make sure you fill out this to the best of your ability, read everything you possibly can. And then once you hit yes and submit and open an account on the other end, you'll be fully capable of funding the account inside the mobile app, just like the desktop. Now, when it comes to what to invest in, a Roth IRA is just the container. You still need to invest the money. And Fidelity has dang near anything that you could want to invest in. They have broad market index funds. You have ETFs, target date retirement funds, individual stocks. They even have direct indexing where you can buy the stocks inside of an index fund individually and then sell off for losses for tax loss harvesting purposes later in the year, if that's your thing. They also have precious metals and crypto. So brief disclaimer. At the time of this recording, I'm not a financial advisor, so I'll let you decide on what you'd like to invest in. Just know that much of what you're going to look for can be done through Fidelity. So for example, if we want to invest in a Fidelity S&P 500 index fund, so we can go to Google and we'll do Fidelity S&P 500 index fund, and that'll give us FXAIX. Then we go back to Fidelity and we type it in the search bar up here, and it brings up the index fund. Now, this is the main page for any fund, stock, anything you're going to want to invest in. There is a lot of data here. Pretty much anything and more of what you could ever want. So on the left side here, the main things that say you and I want to look at is the net asset value and expense ratios here. We want to know how expensive these funds are. How much are they taking from our returns to manage the fund? Luckily, when you're getting into most index funds, they're going to prioritize low expense ratios. Fidelity even has 0 expense ratio funds. So for instance, FXAIX is the Fidelity 500 index fund. You can also do FZROX, which is the Fidelity total market index fund, the 0 fund. So we can go see what that looks at. So you see the expense ratio gross and net here says 0%. So overall rating, you get your returns of the average over the last few years. I will say the last few years, we have seen a lot more than the average. So when it says this 17.24% or 22.4% in the last 3 years, just know that that's not the norm. Most total market index funds, S&P index funds, on average, bring between 8 and 12%. So just because the last few years have been kind of exciting, that doesn't mean that's going to be the norm always moving forward. Now, the difference between, say, these 0 total market index funds. So the one thing to watch with these Fidelity 0 total market index funds or any of the 0 index funds is if you ever decide to go from Fidelity to Charles Schwab or Vanguard or Robinhood, these have to be sold off. At least from what I've heard is that people said they had to sell them, either take the gains or take the loss and then move them over to it. Okay, so after looking at the screen, if you ever wanted to say, check to see how these perform against a normal total market index fund like VTI, Vanguard's. So we can scroll down to similar funds to pick from Fidelity. You can click this compare button and it takes you to this page where we can type in VTI. You can go to Google and look up and try to find the ticker symbols. VTI is Vanguard's total stock market index fund, and you can find that they track pretty much the same. So both are going to have, we'll click overview. You'll see their daily returns, what they're for 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10-year life of funds. If you're looking for, say, long-term investing, don't necessarily look at the life of the fund because some of the funds are just different different lifespans. So the Fidelity Zero Market Fund might be relatively recent when these returns have been higher. So because of the higher return, shorter time span, this may say, yes, it gets 13.8%. The Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund may have just been longer during low return years, so then it averages those in. So you might actually get better data from older funds. Maybe that's why this one has a 10-year at 14.25 and the 0 fund doesn't have anything because it wasn't that old. So yeah, just something to keep in mind to just kind of mess around with. Fidelity can do dang near anything. Okay, so let's go back to the main Fidelity page. Okay, so here, if you have a brokerage account, if you have a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA, if you have a like a solo 401k, that's going to show on the left side here under accounts. So for today's video, we look at Roth. There's a lot of good information here. You have the IRA contributions. So if you've automated anything, or if you put what's left over from your paychecks here, you'll see these accumulate towards your $7,500 limit for the year of 2026. You can see your balance. So as you see these big spikes, if you throw in $500 that was left over in your budget at the end of the month, that's kind of what's indicated here. You can see your asset allocations. Pretty much all of ours are in index funds. That's through the FSKAX, which is total market index from Fidelity, and then FXAIX, your S&P 500 index funds. You can learn more about the markets themselves, the Dow Jones, NASDAQ, S&P 500, crude oil, US 10-year gold, Bitcoin, everything that you could ever want to invest in, you can find inside of Fidelity, do some research, and then make an informed decision on whether that's truly something you want to invest in. So Roth IRAs inside of Fidelity, very powerful, very in-depth. Sometimes it can feel like you're drinking from a fire hose, but the more you get used to Fidelity, the easier it gets. And it truly is the one-stop shop. If you want an HSA, you can get it inside of Fidelity. You want to set up 529 plans for your kids, you can do that inside of Fidelity. They truly have anything and everything that you could want set up right inside of here. And if you also want them to handle a lot, Fidelity does have financial advisors. So if you want to hire them inside of the Fidelity account, then you can have a login and coordinate with them on how to do it. You totally can do that. Otherwise, you can work with a financial advisor, financial planner, and they can also help you with your Fidelity and plan that way as well. Now, some important limits to know. Roth IRAs have annual contribution limits, which at the time of this recording in 2026 is $7,500 if you're under the age of 50 and $8,600 if you're 50 and older. And then you also have income limits, which I'll place a chart here on the screen so you can check out your personal situation. If you file single on your taxes, you can't directly contribute if you make over $168,000, I think is what it is. And if you file married filing jointly, I believe it's $252,000. Just know that these do change every single year, so you'll want to check them occasionally just to see if you're over or under these income limits. Remember, if your income is too high, you can't contribute directly into the Roth IRA, but that doesn't mean you're out of options. If you're above the income limits, there's this strategy called the Backdoor Roth IRA that many high income earners use. I made a full step-by-step Backdoor Roth IRA video walking through exactly how it works inside of Fidelity. You can check that video out next. I'll see you there.